Yeah, Sam Spinazzola. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Sam Spinazzola. So,
I'm Loui Rizzo from Salem, New Hampshire.
I'd like to thank you guys for helping me do this today. First is, why did you join the service? Were you drafted or did you go in yourself? And how old were you?
you want me to go first?
Go ahead, you.
Okay. I was in high school. I was 17, and I saw where the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
So I quit school, and I went to the Marine Corps League to I volunteered to go in there, and they said to me, where I was a couple of weeks before my 18th birthday, that was okay, but I had to go report to the draft board anyway, which I did. I reported to the draft board, and I told them that I went in and volunteer for the Marines, and they said, don't worry about it, you're going to be all set. So I didn't get called till, I think it was February. It was December, I made 18. I got called, I think it was February, I can't give it the right date. And I was told that there was no sweat. Report to the post office in Boston, go right there as a Marine Corps recruiter up there. So I went up there to the post office in Boston, where I lived, East Boston, and that's how I got in the Marines. Yeah. And him, I don't know.
Louis, why did you join the service?
I was drafted.
You were drafted?
Yeah,
How old were you at the time?
18 years old.
Okay. Now, what were you doing before the service? You said you were in high school.
I was in high school, yeah.
Was it the same thing with you, Louis?
We were both in the same school.
Oh, well, that was done at that time.
Oh,
We
were you,
were done, yeah.
were you working before you got drafted?
No,
What branch of the service did you join?
U.S. Marine Corps.
U.S. Marine
Yeah.
Corps. Louis?
I was in the Army. They drafted me into the Army.
Okay.
I had to join the airborne myself.
Yeah. How did your parents feel about you joining the service?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think they liked it too well.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, my mother, being Italian, she didn't know what was what, and she didn't know what was going on. My brother Chris was already in the Air Force. He was a year before.
I met him,
But-
you know.
Yeah?
I met his brother
Yeah, he met him
over in Okinawa.
Oh, wow.
Well, anyway, it turned out that I told her that I was going to go in. She didn't know. Being Italian, she never spoke English anyway. But the rest of my family didn't like that.
Yeah.
My brothers and sisters say, wait a minute, wait till they call you. So they're going to call me eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I did get called anyway. They didn't like, my family didn't like it because my older brother was in the service, and they figured why the two boys should go in, you know.
Mhm.
But anyway, I went in anyway.
Yeah. Where did you do your basic training for the service?
I did mine at Paris Island, South Carolina.
You remember where
I
you
did mine in Camp Wheeler, Georgia.
Wow.
That's in Warner Robins. It's no longer there. They took it away.
Okay. Was there a culture shock on your part meeting people from all over the country? Meeting different kind of people from different
Oh,
countries?
when you get in the service, oh yeah, sure. We meet a lot of people all over, you know.
Yeah. Do you have any interesting stories from your basic training experience?
I didn't get that last part.
Do you have any interesting stories from your basic training experience?
Well,
Do I have anything?
everybody had some kind of trouble. You know.
Yeah, mine was just directive training, and that was it. My training was only one thing: learn how to kill.
Yeah.
They didn't teach the Marines anything else, but that's what we learned the most, you know. And being the war was on, we only had 8 weeks. Today they go 13, 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they had to push us through, you know.
Yeah. Get
So
you
this
through
is
that
all they
fast.
taught us, yeah.
How about you, Louis? Do you have any special stories from basic training?
No. The infantry training was normal.
Yeah. What was your military occupational specialty?
Mine was, I was a mortarman,
You're a mortarman?
yeah, a 60 millimeter mortarman, yeah. I took that up better than I took the other.
I was the same thing.
You did the same thing?
I was a waterman, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And over in the Philippines, yeah.
In what zone of combat did you see action?
Mine was the island of Guam in the South Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philippines,
Philippines?
yeah.
Which theater of combat would you have preferred to serve? Being over in Europe or in the Pacific?
Mine was in the Pacific, yeah, South
Yeah.
Pacific.
I was in the Pacific.
You think you preferred that, or would you have rather been over in Europe?
Well, we were Marines, we had no choice, so we couldn't go over to Europe because all Marines were over in the South Pacific.
I got a little story about that. When I got drafted, right after that, I had my appendix removed.
Oh no.
They delayed it, okay? So now, if I had gone in at that time, at the same time as a neighbor that I had, I might have got killed over there in Europe in that Battle of the Bulge,
Yeah.
because he was involved in that. Do you remember Carmen DeAngelis?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Carmen DeAngelis
From East
lived on
Boston.
Liverpool Street
Yeah,
in
I
East
remember.
Boston. Near about 2 doors down from the pool room there,
Yeah,
from Sam's pool room.
yeah. You remember that?
Wow. Do you think that one theater was more important than the other? Do you think the fight over in Europe was more important than the Pacific?
No, I don't think so. I think they were about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
They
would say.
were using more in the Atlantic or the
They were
Atlantic.
equally
Europe.
important.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
Do you have to conjure hatred to the Germans and Japanese? Did you have to bring that upon yourself, or did it come naturally to hate
No,
them?
I don't want him, but I hated the Japanese.
Yeah.
No, what they attacked Pearl Harbor, you know, and all those poor people, even people there getting killed and everything for no reason. I couldn't see that at all.
Well, it's
That's
really
why I
isn't
quit
it?
school.
Yeah.
I knew I could get in, you know.
They told us they were the enemy, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, you had to act accordingly, you know, watch out, keep your wits about you.
Yeah. It came pretty naturally after what they did.
Yeah.
Do you think the war in the Pacific was a racist war on both sides?
What's the what, I'm sorry?
Racist?
Was it a racist
No,
war?
No, no.
No.
No. Tell us about your combat experiences. Where did you see action?
I don't know about him, but I saw the action in Guam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being a mortarman, I saw it in Guam, yeah. I don't know him.
The Philippines.
Tell us about your most dangerous experience in combat that you might have endured over the war.
You want to hear from me first?
You can go first.
Well, my dangerous experience was that, you know, we had our mortar set up, dropping our shells on the enemy.
That's what we do.
Yeah. We had to worry more about snipers knocking off the mortarmen
Yeah.
because we were in one spot. All the other Marines moved up ahead and everything. We were in one spot sending our shells over. And a lot of, I don't know how many, but a lot of mortarmen were getting knocked off by snipers. So I was on the lucky group. In my group, none of us got knocked off. Yeah.
We had a special place over there called Mount MacLeod.
Okay.
It was a big mountain. The Japanese infested that area.
They had high ground.
Couldn't get them out.
Yeah.
They were kidnapping Filipinos up in there. And we used the mortars to bombard them up there.
Yeah.
It took 2 weeks of straight, steady bombarding.
Which must have been hard because they had the high ground too, so they were
Yeah, oh yeah.
shooting down at you.
They tried to attack us one time in our area. They were shooting all over the place, boom, 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 right through the tents. Yeah, I think they figured, you know, rather than these guys come out to get us, we'll go in there and get them.
Wow.
It worked out to times, guys.
Do you feel that your superior officers were trustworthy, knowledgeable, and inspiring?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I figured
indeed.
mine were, oh, yeah.
The guys we had were
Our
really,
main ones were our sergeants.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
A sergeant, and anything, any sergeant for anything, they're like the main. They handle the most, because they run everything. And the officers, rank officers would show them tell them what to do, and they didn't. And we followed them more than we did like lieutenants or captains and stuff, because they showed us what we had to do, you know? Yeah.
Did you ever refuse to obey an order that
Never.
a superior gave you?
Never.
You
Never.
dare not.
Yeah.
Dear not, is right.
Did you have any contact with SS troops?
We didn't, that's Europe.
Yeah,
No, we did, that was in,
No, we
that
were.
was in Europe.
How were the the local people, how did they treat you down there, the civilians?
The Guamanians, didn't have too much to do with them at the time, because the Japanese had control over them.
Yeah.
Until we finally got about 2/3 of the island was just about secured. And most of them, the Japanese, were still a lot to be found. The war got to a point where they hid the hills and the mountains, and we couldn't find half of them, really. The ones that were captured, let's put it that way. So the Guamanians finally got into us with the Marines, on the island, and we took care of most of the ones that we could see, the families and stuff. Other than that, there was a lot left. Well, we finally got in and got in the caves and stuff. We found a lot of left dead Marines, dead Japanese with the dead families, women and children and everything. They were getting hand grenades in there and telling you, flamethrowers and everything. When you go in there, you find them dead. That was the bad part of that was the bad part of me doing that. I didn't like to see that.
Yeah.
So that made me hate the Japanese all the more. But the big thing there was that we had Guamanians here, people, so it weren't too bad. So they worked for us more or less on the island,
That's good. Do you feel like there's any misconceptions that the American public has about World War II?
Misconceptions? Not that I don't think so.
No.
Would you? I don't
You
think
feel
so.
like the American public feels
I
it?
think the
Yeah,
whole American public, well, they probably hated all of them for
There
doing
are
it.
not too many of us left,
Yeah. How would you sum up the efforts of the Allies in World War II versus your own efforts?
The Allies, well, didn't have much in the Pacific as much as they had in Europe, Yeah. I'll tell you about the Allies after the war was over, where they sent we Marines, okay? That's when you get to that part.
Do you feel like you still carry some animosity, some hate towards your old adversaries?
Now?
Yeah.
No, not now. Now it's all over with. No.
That's about it for the questions. Is there anything more you guys would like to add? Any more stories?
Well,
You told you ended up in Japan,
Oh, yeah,
He went-
I wound up in Japan.
Yeah. Well, we did,
We went to Okinawa first.
no, see, he went to, see, when I left Guam,
Yeah.
when I was on Guam,
See,
the bombs were
Philippines-
dropped.
The Philippines was a stepping stone
Yeah, same thing.
with Okinawa to Japan.
It was the nearest, oh yeah, Okinawa was the nearest to Japan.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Okinawa was between the Philippines and Japan. So we
Now,
went there.
our outfit.
A lot of dead bodies
Go
over
ahead,
there.
say.
A lot of dead bodies on Okinawa.
Well, let me tell you, we had, on Guam, we had a lot of Jap prisoners and stuff, and at one time, this you gotta know, at one time, the Jap prisoners couldn't believe that they became prisoners, because they heard that Marines don't take prisoners.
Yeah.
They heard Marines were taught to kill, and that, well, that's true, we were taught to kill. My job being the mortars and the shell loading. But the big thing was that when we talked to some of the prisoners, one prisoner said he graduated from Harvard in 1940.
Wow.
And,
Yeah,
and
sure.
he talked to these, and he said, you won't believe it, they talk better English than we did. Oh, you won't believe it. But they believed something, and I don't know where they got this thing. But the reason they fought to the end, most of it, was that they believed you couldn't become a Marine unless you killed your parents.
Wow.
And I don't know where the hell they ever got that. That's when they figured, well, the Marines are going to take us if they kill their parents. And it's true, the Japanese fought right to the end.
Yeah.
But there was a couple that couldn't do anything, a lot of ammunition and stuff they had to be captured, and they couldn't believe that they lived. Now, we had on the island of Guam, when the Seabees came, they put up tents and everything, they put barricades, and they put up leaves and stuff where they made big compounds to hold the Japanese. I think there was probably was about 20 or 25 on the island of Guam. But anyway, you won't believe it. They couldn't believe that we weren't that We didn't have to kill our parents to get in the police, in the, the Marine Corps. So, while we were there though, the bombs were dropped. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Okay. Well, let me finish this off for you. So anyway, we were ready to hit Kyushu, Japan.
Yeah.
Well, no, we didn't have to hit Kyushu, Japan. We found out Kyushu, Japan was so well armed that if we did first and I was in the 6th Marine Division, 1st and 6th Marine Division, if we hit Kyushu, Japan at that time, it would have been at least on both sides of the country, America and the Japanese, there probably was about, there would be 500,000 killed. Now, being the Marines, 1st Division going in, I probably wouldn't have been here today. But anyway, the Japs surrendered. Now, there's a lot of Japs in Guam that didn't know that the war was over. They were still up in the mountains and the hills. So that's where we spent most of our time, sending mortars and stuff up there, you know. But the big thing was that we didn't have to hit Kyushu, Japan. So anyway, I'll tell you after that. I don't know where he went after that, because when the war was over. You went to Japan, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you did in Japan, I'll tell you what I did after that.
Well, the main reason why we went there expecting trouble. We went there in full field equipment, armed to the teeth. We were ready to fight as soon as we landed in Japan.
Yeah.
But even before that, like, you know, we spent a couple of weeks in Okinawa, boning up, you know, to wisen everybody up to what was going to happen up there.
Yeah. Same thing here in Guam.
A lot of dead people over there. A lot of dead bodies.
Oh, let me tell you.
They just covered them over. The stink was unreal.
That was one of the big things with us. Aggravated me mostly. The guys who got on there with, they never made it, you know, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. But what I'm getting at was the 1st and 6th Marine Divisions. The war was over, right? They sent us to China to disarm the Japanese. Now let me tell you, the war was over. Now when I signed up for the duration in 6. You did the same thing? Duration in 6 months.
Yeah.
After the war was over, you're supposed to have 6 months more and then you're off. They didn't do that with my outfit. They sent us to China. I spent the whole year in China. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was. But one of the things while we were in China, China had the nationalist and communist battles. They were there. Well, we had to take care of a couple of, well, once we disarmed them all, we had to take care of some of the outfits and places that the United States and England owned. The railroads, the bridges, the coal, they owned most of, we owned most of the half. So our job was to make sure this got through, everything was fine. So the communists couldn't come down and take it. Now, we had nothing to do with the communists. We fought the Japanese, but this is what, Marines, they send you every place, you gotta go. So we were lucky, where we had a bridge, and we had a platoon was 60 guys. And we were taking care of that bridge in that little town called Lanshan in China. Well, the bridge we had a tower in it, and every tower there were 6 guys in it. Well, the winter of 45, yeah, the winter got attacked by the communists. So we fought off communists. We weren't supposed to, we had nothing to do with it, but they wanted to blow up the bridge and take over. They never got around to doing it. We fought, I got pictures of the guys that were on the tower that held them all off. I don't know how many they killed, but it was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we finally got that done. They called these Chinese soldiers come down with the officers, and they cleaned up the bodies and stuff. Horses, they come down in horses, and that's what they did. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they were doing that. Our job was to make sure they didn't attack again. We fought them off. So there was a battle there that I didn't expect. I figured I was all done with the battles, you know. We didn't expect, but we got that one. We were lucky. None of us got hurt. Only one guy got his eye shot out, but that wasn't too bad. But the big thing was that that held us there for a year. Now, I didn't get out of there till August of 1946. They kept us there. And that was the only place that we had to stay. And then they bounced us around from village to village, you know. And that kind of upset me a little bit because it was 6 months more than I was supposed to spend. I didn't mind, don't get me wrong, because I know they needed us there. And that was it for me. That queued everything up for me. I come home, got discharged, and I don't know where he was at the time, knowing he was in Japan, and in a worse area than we were. Because even in Japan, I can tell you now, even if they were there and took over, I can tell you right now, they didn't like the idea, right, Lou?
They did.
No way. You
They
couldn't
didn't like us
trust.
being there, that's
From
for
what I
sure.
knew, you couldn't trust anybody, you know? Yeah. But that's the way it worked with us, anyway.
Well, thank you for sharing your stories and thank you for your service.
Yeah, is that all you want?
Yeah.
Jesus, huh? I want 30 copies there, and I'm gonna send them to my buddies.